Alright, so for this journal, what we're going to be doing is we're going to actually be taking some of the stuff that we did for the fashion show and actually combining that and sort of taking all of our process and our finished product and overlaying those two things together on top of each other to create one finished graphic. So if we look at this, this will be sort of the end product that we'll be going for. Here's a picture soon. Then I've taken some of the process images, like the image of his bow tie that he did the blueprint, and overlaid that on top of it. If I zoom in, I've also taken some of the test samples that he put in there as an image and set up the line work and overlaid that as well. In addition to that, I've taken some of the process images of him and Chris, laying out some of that, and through some of the masking tools, gone through and edited that. So what we'll do is we'll start by just opening up some of the other process stuff. And I've downloaded a couple of these. One more. Alright, so we'll start by taking some of these. And I'm just going to take chunks of this because Jacob's got a lot of good content here. Control C, Control V, and then Control T, and I'm just going to blow this up. Alright, and so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wand tool and actually, hold on, let's toggle this off. I'm going to take this. And I'm going to hit Control C and Control V. So this will give me a mask that everything will map around. So now I won't ever V. Ah, my goodness. This way I won't ever be able to necessarily see that. So from here, what I can do is I can start to play around with this. The other alternative here is I can also do the opposite of that. So if I use the wand tool, Control Shift, and create a new layer, and then use the paint bucket tool, the G button. I can paint that and then toggle this off. And then what I'll be able to do is I'll essentially be able to set this to overlay, just like I would. And I'm going to set this to overlay as well. We can overlay some of these things. I'm just going to turn them off. So what you guys can do is you can start to explore composition by combining the different processes in here. And you can tell that there's stuff in here that I don't need, like this extra white border. So if I use the wand tool, I'm going to create a vector mask. Oh, Control Z. I use the wand tool, Control Shift I. And once I have that thing selected, I can mask off that, what I don't want, by using just the mask tool once I have a selection on that layer. And so say there still might be stuff in here that I don't necessarily want to be able to see. And so now I'll use, if I come in here and use the brush tool, B, and paint black on this, not on this, but on the mask, I can actually get that to fade out. And so I can start to just sketch in here. Alright, and so what we'll do is use the marquee tool, M, Control C, Control V, Control T to transform. Not everything needs to be the same size. Wand, Control Shift I, and then I'll use the masking tool to do this. Set this to overlay. I'm just going to embed some of this stuff. And I'm going to invert that so that we get those out where we had that white. We'll actually get that nice layer here. And again, I see that there's a border here, so I'm going to go back onto the mask and use the B tool, brush tool, and I'm just going to come in here and clean that up. That doesn't really bother me down here, so I'm going to go ahead and move that on there. Alright, So then what I'll end up doing is, as I go through and get these guys in here, I'm going to go ahead and start to be able to Control A, Control C, go ahead and just start to build this thing up into a really nice process image that will enable me to, and so I'm going to use B, B for brush, there we go. It is kind of working. Alright, and I'll go ahead and hit Control I to invert that again. Now I can start to play with some of these other different types of guys. So this is a soft light. And Control T. Let's just play around with this a little bit so we can see what we get. Okay, so he's got some process photos of him actually in there. Alright, Control A, Control C, Control V. Alright, so what we'll be able to do here, enter to confirm the transformation, do overlay, and then we can come in here and again, if we do create a vector mask, use our brush tool, and actually I kind of like this. This is we're going to start to build up this graphic. Alright. So we can start to build this up, and then we can visualize some of the, all the layers and all of the process that actually is embedded in this. So we can start to really build up a graphic. You can start to see Jacob's pant leg in here. We can see all the process stuff that was embedded in this thing. And then what we'll also be able to do is, if we come over here and set this stuff up, here I'll just go back over to Jacob's website. We can start to download more process. But here we'll grab a picture of Chelsea because she was one of his partner in crime in this. Save that, and then we'll come over here and I'm just going to use the marquee tool to select a specific set of content in this. Control C, Control V. Again, set this to overlay, or we can do a hard light. We'll use a masking tool with the brush. Then I'm going to use the lasso tool so I can continue to maintain that sort of edge. Alright. And from there, this is what essentially the type of graphic we're going to build up. So I want you guys to use your process images and tell your story here. And maybe my cropping isn't the best in this now. I'm going to go ahead and just reframe this image. And you guys can start to build this up. And you're just going to save this out. And this will be the thing that we're going to be producing today. So we'll go over here and, oops, save this out. Alright, and this should be completely unique to you. You guys can go through and do what you want to do. If you want to come in here, you can also oops, that's with the wrong layer. Control Alt V, step back. turn this on. And you can play around with stuff, see what it does. Alright. Then just save that out, then get that laid out on some composition, and we'll get those posted. Alright.